feel like there was that much of the picture.
So is this one the proposed
That is the
modifications and
current.
this, oh, this is the current and this
That-
is
yeah.
the modification.
Yes,
I
the
just
one-
wasn't sure which one was going
Yeah,
to which
the one
one.
that says Catholic Charities
Is
is
the
new one, right?
current.
Is the current.
Current,
As
okay.
it, as it
And this
stands
is what
right
you're
now.
now,
proposing.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
This is what you're-
the one with-
that's helpful, thanks.
The one with no name on it.
And the one with the floor plan with the writing on it, the second page is what's going to be really relevant to you
The
guys.
third page.
Third page,
Yes, that's,
this one?
The
Yes.
food.
Yeah, food.
yes, so that's where you'll have the kitchen area.
Okay.
That
You
we'll be
folks are all
discussing
set
about.
up. As soon as you're done, Sarah, you can just ping me and I'll come back and turn it off.
Thank
If anybody else joins, again, you can just ping me and I'll come up. with
Okay.
it, But should be fine, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, so, my name is Kenya Middleton. I am the Chair of Municipal and Public Affairs, and I just want to call this meeting to order. Roll call. We can start with, oh, go ahead. Oh, you do it. Oh, sorry.
Councilmember Dundon,
Present.
Committee Chair Middleton,
Present.
and we have ex officio member Matvetsky,
Present.
and Councilmember Strawn is absent.
And then, do you want to?
And also present is Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to thank you guys for coming. I'll just read the first thing that we're discussing. It's RL 24-46. And it's an ordinance to amend the 2024 budget to allocate the American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds to support building upgrades at 86 Walnut Street for the Salvation Army's new commercial kitchen, equipment, and furnishings to support its community meal programs. So can you discuss a little bit of what this money would do and any information you'd like to give us?
Sure, so the funding that we're requesting is simply to install a commercial kitchen at 86 Walnut Street. Those funds would be used towards the furnishings of that kitchen, equipment needed, and any construction helps that it can also go towards.
Okay. And can you explain a little bit about what you do at the Salvation Army currently?
Sure.
And how like this, move and just a little bit of information. If I could.
Sure. So currently at the Salvation Army, our primary goal is food insecurity.
Mhm.
So we have a soup kitchen which operates 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day. And we also have a food pantry that operates Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday. Wednesdays we take off because that is our delivery day for a food bank. We also have other programs that we operate out of the facility. Pathway of Hope is one of those programs that we offer out of our facility. It is a program that is primarily intended to take a family that is stuck in the cycle of generational poverty and move them to self-sufficiency so that they can, get out of break the cycle of poverty so that they can move and be able to take care of themselves and find resources on their own and utilize their own resources in a much better way than they have been in the previous in the past. We also have child care management, which is a program which we have a counselor which helps coordinate child care for long-term illnesses. They help mental health issues as well. They just basically help the doctors talk to each other and make sure that these children are getting to their appointments and so coordinating their care. And those are our primary functions out of the Salvation Army currently.
Did you want me to speak to the statistics of that and the
Yeah.
spaces we're currently using?
Yeah.
So right
Please.
now, our community meal plan, or our community meals, like you said, is 7 days a week. And monthly average, we're going anywhere between 3,500 and 4,000 meals going out of that facility. Our food pantry, we are anywhere from 150 to almost 200 families a month. Currently, we
Slow it down, I wanna make sure.
so
You said-
sorry.
No, it's okay. You said 250 families a month.
150 to 200 families a month in the food pantry.
I also forgot to mention, she's probably about to bring it up, is we also operate a hygiene pantry out of our facility, which usually is in connection with our food pantry, but we have had several people come in simply for the hygiene products.
So, is it okay to keep going?
Yeah.
I'll try to slow down.
Yeah, no,
I were
wanna-
just so used to telling our story
No,
that I
no,
missed
no,
it.
no, it's okay.
So we currently operate out of very small space. We have a small dining room downstairs, which we have outgrown completely, and a very small kitchen and food storage area downstairs. Currently, with the volume of people that we're seeing, we have had to convert our upstairs chapel space into a multi-purpose room where we have tables set up where we currently feed.
I'm sorry. So you said you outgrown the space. Is that the reason why you want to move?
No,
Okay.
the reason that we want to move is we don't feel like our current location is meeting the needs of the community or the downtown area, which is now really business friendly. And the vulnerable population that we serve doesn't, the demographics of those don't necessarily fit in with what's happening downtown. And we feel like the current move that we want to do fits more in with the people that we serve, and also helps us to increase our footprint and our map and be able to help more people in that neighborhood.
So, how many people are, so you're serving 3,500 to 4,000 per month?
Meals. Yeah.
Meals. How many meals do you expect to serve at the new location?
Well, from what we understand about the Walnut Street location, we have an advisory board member who had worked very closely with the city, and he said that neighborhood is one of the poorest in the entire city. So we would expect, we don't know exactly what the increase will be, but we do expect that there will be a dramatic increase both with the community meals and with the food pantry in that area.
So just a quick question. So to me, on that side, like you said, it is a poor, it is a very, it needs some help on that side of town. But so you're gonna have the same demographic of people come to over there. Do you have a way of how could I explain that? Like a way to control, because you're saying right now that in your current area, the needs don't fit kind of what is going on now. It's more of a business area.
Right.
So now you're essentially moving to an area that kind of needs help for the people that need help. Now, do you have a plan on how you plan to help people? Because there's already a problem over there. So that essentially you're moving it, like you're moving the needs, the people who have needs to an area that already has needs. So it's gonna kind of be a bigger problem in that area. Do you have like a plan or something that you're going to do to kind of work through that? Because now you're helping, you're essentially helping, you're going to be helping more people because you're moving there. But do you have a plan or things that you're going to offer kind of with that? Because it's going to be bigger. Does anybody understand like where I'm coming from or no?
Well,
I think you're trying to say like, will the services be continued
Continued,
to
yeah.
people that rely on like that for the location on Washington
Yes.
Street?
Oh, yes, yeah, none of the services are going to change as far as the people we help now. We don't anticipate like anything like transportation or anything like that to be a barrier to the people that are currently accessing our services. I mean, it's
So
really, go ahead.
I'm curious what work was done to make you confident that it won't impact the existing clientele? Like,
Usually
was there like
convince
survey work or interviews or just chatting with people?
it.
Like,
Sure,
well,
In getting,
I
yeah,
guess how do you know that?
in getting to know our current clientele, because we spend lots of time with them, just
right.
sitting and talking with them.
Right, absolutely.
Many of them actually walk from down Main Street to get to us as it is. So it's actually going to be closer to them to be able to get to that location. And those that reside at the YMCA or YWCA have already said, yeah, well, we'll follow you wherever you go. So, I believe that our current clientele will follow us to the new location. And it's not very far from where we are. I believe it's less than half a mile from one spot to another. So it's not going to be a very big barrier. Those who ride the bus, there's a bus line right at the beginning of the street. We have plenty of opportunity for our current clientele to continue with our services. And we do anticipate to be bringing in more clientele being in that neighborhood. So,
Mm.
so we believe that we'll be able to continue our current services and increase.
And you have space to serve these people too. So,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Is that something that we may want to address now, looking
Okay,
at the floor,
please, thank
the
you.
floor plan?
Okay, yeah, so I give you 2 floor plans.
Mhm.
The one that says Catholic Charities is the current situation with the building, where, how it's set up currently. Our plans are on the other page with the blank name space. To orientate you where where it says entry level or first level, that is Walnut Street. So that would be looking at the building at this direction. This is the front of the building here. If we go to the third page, which is where the kitchen would be and most of the social services, you'll see that we've removed several walls in the middle to create a dining space. So that those that wish to stay inside can. So there'll be several tables set up in that area. Many of our clients are grab and go. They just take it and leave. They would rather go to wherever they're going to be that afternoon or evening, and that's where they'll take the food with them. So we anticipate that this will be plenty of space for those people that wish to stay inside, and there will be one-way access from the front of the building to the back of the building to pick up the food and just continue on.
You want to talk about the kitchen, the food pantry, and the hygiene pantry?
Yeah, so the entire left side of the building pretty much will be the food pantry area. It gives us plenty of space for food storage, both dry goods and cold goods. There will be a chute entrance. That's just what the lines here are, so we can get the food inside. Currently, everything is packed on the sidewalk and we have to walk it in. And it makes it kind of difficult, but with this system, we believe it'll be a lot easier because we will actually slide the food into the building using a roller system. And so it'll be a lot easier on our volunteers to be able to take those foods and put them away. So hopefully that will be a good help for them. The kitchen, which is on the right-hand back of the building. Forgive the sketchiness of it. I'm not an artist. I'm not an architect. I've never claimed to be. But in the very back, and there are labels. They're just really, really small.
Oh, this is the kitchen?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is one with the rectangle in the middle.
Yes, this area here will be the
Okay.
kitchen
Okay.
area. So this very back space will be a walk-in refrigerator freezer, which will help with our current storage. So everything along the sides are service areas, 3-bay sink, which was required by the health department for handling of dishes. We have a stove here. This line out will be the exhaust hood for the stove. Racks for various pots and pans. Service table here. This will be a service window, pass-out window, this line here, and then an island to help with preparations.
Nice.
It'll be bigger than the current kitchen that we have now. It'll give us a lot more storage space and a lot more service space. Right now, what we have is just really what you would consider a residential kitchen with commercial equipment. So it's that kind of size.
Right, and all of the space is a much more open concept than we currently have now. If you've ever been to our facility, it's like 4 floors, and it's all very closed off. It's not very open at all. This will allow us to have much more open space, lots more storage. It's much more user friendly, and I think it'll impact our clients in a positive way. Our hygiene pantry, if you could see on the floor plan, is actually, we're operating out of what we would call a small closet right now, and we're doing between 500 and 600 people a month in the hygiene pantry out of a small closet. So it's not very user friendly. This is much more geared to what we need. And if you know anything about that site, which I'm sure you do, there's already DHS is over there. There's a couple other social services agencies. There's a church that does some meals already. So it's good for collaboration purposes. And also, I mean, it's almost kind of like most of the needs that our clients have, they can get within, like a 2-block radius. So that's also very helpful.
So I read a couple of different articles that said you guys are planning on selling the Washington Street building.
We
Is
are.
that the idea?
That is
Yes.
correct.
So where will those proceeds go?
Those
So-
proceeds would go towards the programs and services that we offer, and also maintenance funds for the new facility.
So it'll stay local.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that was
it's
a-
not,
that was a-
yeah,
that
it's
was a
not
big
going
question. I was
anywhere.
like-
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
No, it will
It's a
stay,
big financial question.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it-
yeah,
it's a local program, so everything will stay local.
yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what that building's estimated at?
Last time we had it estimated, it was 650,000,
That was 2 years
but that was
ago.
2 years ago before the parking garage was built, and it was just next to a big hole in the ground.
Right.
So we're predicting it'll probably estimate a little higher.
Million. That's what we'd love
Well,
to sell it
we're-
for.
I'm thinking 800,000, but it'll probably sell around $1 million,
Mhm.
but we'll see. We've had about 4 or 5 people already interested in that location.
Mhm.
I mean, if you break it up, it's actually kind of a nice entertainment area. It's got 3 nice large spaces you could use for event spaces.
Mhm, of course.
Where we have our current chapel and feeding area, it's got nice high ceilings. It's already got a stage built into the building. So
So I just me again with my crazy questions, just ignore me.
no, you're
So
fine.
hypothetically, you move out, you sell it for this money. The money that we're voting on to give to you,
Mhm.
is that money really needed? Because you're going to make so much money off it. So like this money that we're voting to give you, is it really truly needed for your upgrades when you plan to receive a big amount of money?
Yes, because the current cost to actually do the renovations in the entire building that we have it's pretty close to $1 million already. So,
And the actual cost that we've estimated from our not a contract, our architects, thank you, is closer to $250,000 to build that kitchen. So this funding will
It's just a
actually
partial-
really
yeah,
help.
it's just a partial
Okay,
piece.
yeah, yep, okay.
It's always good to know
No,
about
okay.
kind of match
Match
money.
Right,
yes,
type
thank
of-
you, yes,
And
thank you.
we've already, the building was like 514.
We bought it for
Yeah.
515.
So then with the upgrades, we're at $1.5 million. So,
Okay.
yep,
That was a big question.
yeah, absolutely. No, we understand.
We understand,
I play devil's advocate.
No, that's okay.
That's okay.
Does anybody have any other questions before we move on to the next?
I guess I'm interested. I don't know if it says it on here. Maybe it was in an article, but you said like they're expanding like youth programming.
Yes.
Did
Yes.
you have in mind for that?
So
We like youth.
Sure, yeah. The Salvation Army already has in place in many locations character building programs for both boys and girls, and they're very similar to like Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. They're but they're designed by the Salvation Army. We have those. We're looking at the possibility of doing some after school programming. We obviously the Salvation Army is a church, so there will be that kind of character formation where families can come and receive the spiritual care that they would need. But we do have plans, especially because in our current location, it is not youth friendly. It's not set up to really address the issues of youth in a safe way. There are not a lot of safe spaces in the building, where this is far more open. And if you look on the floor plan with the drawings, this page right here, you will, page 2, thank you. You'll see that we built in the upstairs part of this a lot of classroom space for these particular programs. The Salvation Army is very heavy on music education programs, so we would like to begin to start offering some of that stuff in that neighborhood. And when we say that neighborhood, it's not just exclusive to that neighborhood. We will take kids from all over the city. So, and we'd like to collaborate with some agencies that are already doing some stuff like this, just like, and we have a great community relationship with Binghamton University. So we feel like we would be able to get students who could help us to execute these programs in a positive way through volunteer work. So, yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh, it's great. That's why we're here, to answer questions.
Another one?
Well, I mean, I guess I do a little bit. So, you had conversations. Your clients, generally speaking, are good with the relocation.
Mhm.
If it turns, do you have any mitigation, stopgap kind of plans, but anything that's there in case there are some clients that end up having trouble with the move? Is there any kind of thought been put into how to help, someone has mobility issues
Sure.
or something?
We
With
have,
existing
sure,
clients.
we have thought about, and we did this a little bit during COVID when these kind of issues arose, doing some home deliveries
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Obviously, that's contingent upon the number of volunteers we have, which are actually, recently, our volunteer base has grown a little bit.
Good.
We operate staff-wise on a pretty skeleton staff. We have like 5, us 2, and then 3 other employees that do all of the operations that we do. So we're very volunteer heavy. And we don't want to not meet the need where it exists. So if those kind of measures exist, we are really looking at maybe doing some home deliveries or maybe some distributions that are outside of our facility for those kinds of
So
things.
it's something that's been thought about, that
Sure.
if it ends up, I mean, it may not be an issue,
Mhm.
but if it ends up being an issue, you have
Sure.
something that you can roll out relatively
Sure.
quickly to help this.
And yeah, and like obviously a move like this is always a work in progress where you can't foresee all the needs that are going to come at you before you get there.
Right.
But it's definitely something that will be continued in conversation. We have a very active advisory board, which also helps us in our planning. We have a lot of dreams and ideas for what this new facility could be. It's just really getting in there, and also for us, because we anticipate a move, we're already kind of in that neighborhood, meeting people and getting to know them, so that when we arrive there, it's not like they don't know who we are. And just being able to talk to people and understand before we get there what kinds of needs they have has been pretty important to us. So
One of our philosophies is to build relationships with our clients. They're not just people who come through and get food and we process and move them along. We want to get to know them. We want to understand what their needs really are. This is where the hygiene pantry actually was born from, was us talking to our clients and understanding that they don't have hygiene products, and it's something that they need, but they're expensive. Hygiene products are very expensive, actually. And so we decided to open the hygiene pantry on a large scale, and it's been quite successful, as she's mentioned. So we definitely like to build relationships with our clientele, those around us. Even if they're not going to come to us, we would like to know who our neighbors are and everything like that. We've got great relationships with Jamie from the crafts and with Dave across the street at Hots and some of the other neighbors, and we got good relationships with them. We just feel like this is a good time for us to leave the downtown area and let that grow into more of a space in which it's becoming, kind of a destination area. It's time for us to move out of that area and provide services closer to where our clients actually live, and see if we can help some more people.
When I spoke a bit with some of the business owners, I think you addressed some of the things that they mentioned, like the loading. They watch you as you struggle to bring food inside the building. They mentioned like the trucks kind of not being the right situation for your current location. They also mentioned like recycling and how that's like put out. Is there a plan for garbage and waste and recycling at your new facility?
Sure. I don't know if we have a plan for the new facility. I think it'll definitely use more user friendly right now. Actually, the space where we do our recycling, that is not only our recycling, all like the 2 or 3 businesses down the street, everything goes in that one particular spot. So you have like the craft and then Strange Brew, their recycling is in that one spot too.
Okay.
So
We also have a
'Cause
contract
there's
with
a
Taylor
lot of
Garbage.
recycling, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of.
Yeah, that's a lot of
boxes.
recycling, especially on a day where we get a lot
Food
of
deliveries.
food deliveries, we
deliveries, yeah.
get boxes to
I
break
mean,
down and everything
Yeah,
like
for
that.
perspective, like each week, we're doing roughly between 5,000 and 7,000 pounds of food coming in and out of the
a lot.
facility. So it's a lot of food, which means there's a lot of recycles. And usually you'll see on Wednesdays and into Thursday, like there's a lot of cardboard. And the city, honestly, they pick up every day and they've been really great about that.
2 or
So
3 times a day.
yeah.
Is that something that they're able to continue in your new location, or is that something because you were in the downtown business
I think
district?
I think it's because we're downtown, but we do have a contract with Taylor Garbage
Right.
currently, and they will help us assess our garbage and recycling needs, and I'm sure we'll have probably some sort of dumpster in the rear where we can throw our recycling, and then they can come get it.
Right.
Keeping an eye on the new neighborhood,
Yep.
you know?
Right. Yeah. And I think these are all important. Like you're gonna probably ask some questions that we haven't thought of, but it's
course.
good for us because then
Yeah.
it gives us, okay, these are things that everybody else is thinking about. How do we address those? And that's a good one because we hadn't really, like, nobody's asked that before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
In terms of the eating indoors versus out to go, do you encourage one thing or another? Because that was something kind of people eating
you.
outside and the trash being outside.
Right.
So obviously, I don't want that in the new neighborhood
Right.
either.
No,
Just
so-
because it's not downtown doesn't, you know.
Yeah, so the trash obviously was an issue. It's not a secret. We have really, since we started coming back inside, and the to-go model was actually more of a product of COVID.
Right.
And for a
But
long,
people liked it.
yeah, people liked it. And I think for a long time, there was a lot of fear, like coming back indoors. So we had to combat that. We also had to combat the lack of volunteers after COVID. So the to-go model just seemed really friendly for us. But we did address with the mayor and with the business owners some of that trash issue. And we feel like since we've gotten more volunteers, since we've moved indoors, there's been a lot of reduction in that. And I think once clients see the new facility and they see how nice it is, I have a feeling that even more people want to be inside,
Right.
enjoying the dining experience, because it's also for them a social experience. They're not getting that interaction in a lot of other places. So to be able to sit around a table with talking to other people and people who are in very similar situations that they are in, I think will be very good for them. So.
And in my observations of the program, the first 20 to 30 people will come in and sit. And then people who come in after that are stragglers. They'll come in, get their food, and go. And mostly because they probably already come from another program. They're just getting some food for later on. They're just taking it home. And so they just come in and
That
go
makes
out.
sense.
So the ones that line up outside are the ones that will sit and hang out for 15, 20 minutes while they eat and talk and get to know each other. It allows us time to get to know them and connect with them. And so, yeah, it's going to be a mixed bag. And I've, since that problem has come up to me a couple of years ago, Dave was telling me about it. I've tried to make sure that myself, my volunteers, my cook, anybody that's there in the evening time are conscious of what's going on
Around.
and you know, is there trash being, and my cook is very good at, if you're taking it, don't you dare throw it on the ground. You know, he tells them, put it in the trash can, put it in the trash can, you know, make sure you don't throw it on the ground, you know, don't dump it out or anything like that. So we're trying to be very environmentally conscious about the trash in the area.
Well, and we love our neighbors,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we want to make them happy. We don't want to do anything that is disappointing.
So you mentioned the lineups, which is another thing that we heard about. Like, is there a thought for, with the new plan, how people will line up, or how you're expecting, because you're expecting even more people coming? Like, are they gonna be long, do you expect long lines, or is there an indoor place for people to wait while they're?
Well, they
things are
could,
opening,
yeah,
or how
they
does
could
that
go
work?
right into the dining room. I don't see a problem with them coming in. I mean, obviously not like super early.
Right,
That's
right.
one thing we
You have
do
to balance,
combat,
yeah.
because like people, like they come like super early. Like we've told them, guys, like dinner is at this time and we're not really gonna open up very much earlier. So it's
Right.
changing some of that mentality
Right.
with them. But with this space being the way it will be, I think it'll be more user friendly just to have them coming in maybe a few minutes early, sitting down around the tables and then being able to
Right.
serve them. So
Trying to remember all the conversations.
No,
we
it's
had.
okay.
Oh, I guess the timeline, we didn't ask kind of the timeline. If money's approved,
Yeah.
how quickly,
Well,
is there a
we're
new kitchen?
currently, we are, we have a contract, an architect, sorry, thank you, I keep saying contractor. But we have an architect, Keystone Associates, they're working on plans for renovations. And once those are approved, we can bid out contractors, and depending on the speed of the contractor, really. It's coming up to summer, so they're gonna do some of their outdoor work first. Everything we have is indoors. So they may wait until fall to begin renovations.
And when
So
when do
you'll
you plan
stay
on moving?
downtown?
Yeah, you'll
We'll stay
bring it
downtown
Okay.
until it's open.
Mhm. Okay, that's.
we do not
There's not gonna
want,
be like.
no, we
Yeah.
do not
Closure.
want a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah,
gap in
Okay.
services.
Okay.
Honestly, if we can help it, we want to be able to be slowly moving in along the way, and really have a minimal stopgap in services. The last thing we heard from the architect was that there is a possibility this could be finished by the end of the year. Now, I will tell you, the end of the year with Christmas season is a very busy time for us,
Mhm.
especially in terms of fundraising. So I don't think we'll be moving in during the month of November and December, but hopefully if what the architect is saying to us is true, they're also project managing, which is really nice. So they'll be able to push things along a little bit more than we would. If that's the case, hopefully January, we would start move. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Hopefully, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't wanna commit to that
Yeah,
time,
right.
No,
but.
no,
Yeah,
Right.
things can happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We've
like
all
I
done
said, it
home
depends.
renovations.
Yes.
Horrible,
Yeah, yeah, like I said, it just depends on the contractor and the speed of the contractor. We don't feel like there's a lot that's really hard. Like the hardest project is going to be installing the kitchen. Like everything else really is knocking down walls and making things, space available. And if you look at the differences, it really is just walls coming down and creating space. So we think the hardest project is the kitchen. Hopefully they can get that done quickly. And so, yeah, the goal is, at least in my mind, is to be closed one day at one spot and open the next day in another spot.
You might be a
And
little
I
optimistic.
may be a little
there, but
optimistic on that,
that's
but
okay.
you know.
Is there other organizations that you might partner with to fill in that stopgap?
Yes, and that was actually one of the things that we learned a very valuable lesson with the week that we were closed, trying to deal with some of the issues that the mayor had brought up to us as far as community safety and stuff. One of the positive things that came out of that, even though it was a little bit negative, is that there wasn't a lot of outreach with our community partners, because we just didn't think about it. We were thinking about how do we get reopened so we can continue servicing. But out of that, knowing that there may be a little bit of a stopgap, hopefully not long, we can communicate that in advance with the people that we know do soup kitchens, food pantries, stuff like that, so that and also with our clients, so that they know they have a place they can go in that very short, immediate
Yeah,
time.
we're part of the Broome County Hunger Coalition, so we'll be able to get the word to them that, they're going to see an increase until we can reopen.
Yeah,
If
Teresa's really
there's-
good. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's a great advocate.
She is. Unfortunately, I don't think she's on the coalition anymore. She's been replaced by someone, I can't remember his name.
Recently?
Yeah. Last couple of months. I think she's still kind of working with the Hunger Coalition, but it's mostly moved to, I think his name's Adam.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
I work with students.
He actually sent out an email saying that he had a new cell phone number. So
Okay. Any other questions before we move to the next?
No labor questions?
No, I mean, it's a private business and they're privately funded, so there's no prevailing wage.
Yeah.
I mean, union contractors could bid on it, but we wouldn't be cost effective for it. So, I mean, if anything, I was gonna ask for your RFPs, are you gonna have your general contractor sub out for the commercial kitchen? Because normally those are specialized.
We've left the project management in the hands of Keystone. So they're gonna handle all that kind of stuff, because we are not contractors, we're not, that.
They'll do good by you guys.
So,
But I mean, when it comes to commercial kitchens, I mean, even my years in my union, whether we were at Bennington or BCC, there's only like 10, I think, on the East Coast that specialize in them, and I think there's one in New York.
Okay.
But Keystone, they would, I'm sure they've dealt with them probably a million times.
I've left everything in their hands, so.
Yeah, we've basically, all we've really done is spoken into what the needs of what the current building needs, and kind of, we've done some of this stuff, but yeah, we'll let the experts take care of that.
The next RL is a 24-47. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Salvation Army for the use of the American Rescue Plan Act funds to support a new commercial kitchen, equipment, furnishings, to move to 86 Walnut Street to support family and to support a community meals program. So it's just basically the same thing. This is, the first one was to amend it. Now this one is to authorize it. So, does anybody have any other questions?
Well, I guess you mentioned public safety stuff.
Mhm.
Has there been any discussions in terms of police and things like that relating to being around, or how, is there a shift in what you had access to from the city downtown versus where you're going, kind of, were those?
So we
Any
haven't
discussions
really
about
had those type of discussions. I will say, since there were security issues downtown, the police presence has been a little bit more active in that area, not as like dealing with issues, but just making sure that there's the preventative piece of that.
Yeah.
On our end, like with the increase of our volunteers and that kind of thing, I think that has actually been very helpful.
Mhm.
You don't really see a lot of issues because people are actually coming into the building. One of the things that we had to do that was actually kind of a little sad is if they want to take out, they had to go to the back door of the building and out the other way. So to kind of decrease some of the issues on Washington Street particularly. I think moving to the new facility, having that continued volunteer base, and then having a nice place where they can come in and dine, I think some of those issues will be mitigated just by those factors. And then, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, and maybe a plan, just because, people who already live on that side of town, they already probably have some safety and security issues
Mhm.
already. So it's just, if you're bringing, that a different clientele that may have some public safety issues too, they might be worried. So maybe coming up with a plan, like a safety plan, or things that you may want to do in case that happens, just because, as if I lived over there and I knew that we had some public safety issues already, and then you're bringing another program that might have some public safety issues, as a person that lives in that neighborhood, that might worry me.
Sure, absolutely. And I think it's important when you're offering these kinds of services to make people feel safe, like
Yes,
that is a
definitely.
safe space for them.
Definitely.
So it may be good for us to have a conversation, like maybe with the police department, to understand what's going on there
Yes,
in
of
that
course, yeah.
context
Of course,
already.
yeah,
And to
definitely.
figure out how we can help deal with that.
Most definitely.
We want to be proactive in that. Like, we don't want to move to be something that causes more
And even-
insecurity issues in
Yeah,
that
and even
neighborhood.
other services, maybe like some mental health people, like online with conjunction and with police, like just something, so that way you kind of have like a backup, because it's already in that area, it's already deprived of a lot of different things.
Right.
So.
And for the Salvation Army as an organization as a whole, we have a very large risk management department. And so some of these things that we're talking about, there will actually have to be plans put into place
Awesome.
already to address them. So.
And I mean, not to sound arrogant or anything, but when I'm around, when we show our presence, people generally tend to behave a little
Right.
bit more.
Especially when we wear, I don't know what
Especially
it
when
is.
these
I think these,
uniforms.
I don't know if they scare people but they're generally like, if we are visible, they are very respectful.
Yeah.
We don't deal with a lot of issues.
Good. Other questions? Okay, well, I guess we can adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
Yeah,
in
thank you for
person.
giving us
Thank you.
time to
We
talk
can
about
Zoom
these
people
things.
in, but it's much nicer.
It is,
to
Yeah.
and you know
sit
what,
down
it's good because
face-to-face.
we really had some questions, and thank you so much for coming on the last,
Yeah.
No,
in a
it's not a
moment.
problem. Like this is what we want to do. Like anytime you're logistically thinking of something like this, we want to address the
Yeah.
community because we know there are questions, and it's a good time for us to tell our story, but also to kind of put to rest
Yeah.
some fears and for you guys to understand that we aren't just doing this willy-nilly. There's a lot of thought, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And I mean, if you know anything about the history of the Salvation Army here, we've been trying to relocate for quite a long time and just nothing has really worked out.
Yeah.
And the way that this all worked out and the way that that building just opened up, it just fell in our laps, and it was at the perfect time because we were getting discouraged that this was never going to happen. So for it to work out the way it has been great, and it's fulfilling a promise that was made to this community a long time ago. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,